The following is a presentation of the Pro Wrestling Report. Informative, entertaining, and real since 1998.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to an all-new segment here for the Pro Wrestling Report. Ask, what are you doing?
I'm waiting to hear.
Ask the Booker. Your question, our answer. You submit it via email.
Oh, you're not a booker.
I am not a booker. I'm a broadcast journalist.
Yes.
And a retired professional wrestler.
How's your bum feeling?
Let's not go there. But in this segment, you submit a question as to why something may have happened back in the days of professional wrestling or why something may be happening now. And that one answers it to the best of his ability from the perspective of a booker. And this week's question, our first question, comes from across the pond, David Hero, specifically Liverpool, England. And it is Guy Anderson. Guy has this question. And I quote, "Was there not another way to make the end between Hogan and The Rock at WWE No Way Out 2003, which was the first WWE pay-per-view in Montreal since the quote-unquote screw job, not look cheap and patronizing to the crowd?" For those of you that don't remember, that pay-per-view was the rematch between The Rock and Hulk Hogan from WrestleMania 18. And it also, Hogan had returned to WWE back in January, and it saw Sylvain Grenier as the special guest referee. And it also saw some shenanigans at the end, which led to the matchup between Vince McMahon and Hulk Hogan at that year's WrestleMania.
When you think of Montreal, what do you think of?
Screwjob.
Screwjob. Absolutely. So, listen,
and French.
You have Hulk Hogan and The Rock.
The great one.
The great one and the immortal one. The Hulkster and the Rockster. Two of the most dynamic talents, personalities in the history of professional wrestling. And you have The Rock, who you're trying to keep him heel, right? Because he comes and goes and comes all over the place. And you have Hulk Hogan, who is the icon, the legend, the Hall of Famer. And you don't want to get that mixed up, okay? So what better way to make sure The Rock stays the bad guy? What better way to get Vince McMahon completely into the storyline as more of a villain than he already is than to screw over the beloved Hulkster, Hulk Hogan? And you know what? I think it was coincidence that it was Montreal. It could have happened in any town. It could have happened in Green Bay. It could have happened in Tuscaloosa, whatever you want to have it. But it worked out that it had to be in Montreal. And you know what? At that time, Bret Hart and Vince McMahon still had yet to make up. Mm-hmm. And what better way to just, what do you call it? Stick that knife in the back a little bit more?
Twist it a little bit more?
Yeah, twist it, shake it, the whole thing. Then to have another screw job in Montreal, which of course reignited the screw job talk, which made sure Vince McMahon was the bad guy, kept The Rock heel, and made Hulk Hogan that much more beloved.
That pay-per-view also saw the matchup between Stone Cold Steve Austin and Eric Bischoff, which was less of a matchup, more of a destruction of Eric Bischoff. But, you know, it's not just Montreal, David. And the question that Guy has was it not, what could they have done differently to make it look cheap and not look cheap and patronizing to the crowd? Where I think it's important to note that what did Montreal expect? Some type of screw job tribute, if you will.
Exactly, and the same thing with every Survivor Series. I mean,
for the several years after 97, they did a screw job. 98, by the way, one of the best Survivor Series of all time with the tournament where Austin got screwed, McFoley got screwed, Vince McMahon got up out of the wheelchair for the first time. It was, and Gilbert debuted. There was a lot going on there, and the screw jobs would continue for a number of years. No Way Out, the February pay-per-view for WWE, has since been, or has long been mentioned, at least by me, as the road bump to WrestleMania. However, when you really look back at No Way Out, or Elimination Chamber as it is now called, a lot really happens in that February event because it's the setup for WrestleMania.
It's the final piece to that WrestleMania puzzle. It's that yellow brick for the brick road.
Oz?
Absolutely, which Kevin Nash we're talking about.
Tin Man?
No, Kevin Nash. Oz. But yeah, you know what? There's no way they could have done it differently, because it was setting up WrestleMania. It was setting up Hogan versus Vince McMahon. It just had to go that way.
And Stephanie McMahon was the general manager of SmackDown at the time. A great time in WWE, and that's this week's Ask the Booker. I want to thank Guy Anderson from Liverpool, England, for sending that in. And David, everyone has a chance to ask the Booker.
Everyone?
All you have to do is send us an email to ATB, Ask the Booker, at PWRshow.com. Once again, that's ATB at PWRshow.com. And if you never know, next Tuesday we may select your question to be answered right here on ATB. So that is it for this edition, the initial edition of Ask the Booker. Be sure to tune in Thursday night to Sudden Impact Radio, and also Saturday for a brand new edition of the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime Television. For David Hero, this is Damian Nelson saying thank you so much for joining us here on Ask the Booker.